In this video, we'll write the net ionic equation for CaCl2 plus Na2CO3, calcium chloride plus sodium carbonate. The first thing we need to do is make sure we have a balanced molecular equation, so this equation's not balanced. If I put a 2 as my coefficient from the NaCl, I'll have 2 sodiums here, 2 sodiums here. I have the Cl here times 2, so I have 2 Cls here, Na, I have 2 Nas, and then I have the 1 carbonate ion. So this is a balanced molecular equation. After I do that, I need to write the states for each substance. We're going to assume that these are aqueous, because if they weren't, they wouldn't react. So these are going to have to be dissolved in water for the reaction to take place. Calcium carbonate, this is produced in the reaction along with sodium chloride. You need to look that up on a table of solubility if you don't know that calcium carbonate is insoluble in water. It doesn't dissolve in water, or if it does, just a little bit. So since it's a solid, when this reaction happens, it'll fall to the bottom as a precipitate. Sodium chloride, that's salt, table salt, and we know that that's soluble, but we could also look that up on a solubility table if we needed to. Next, we'll split the soluble compounds into their ions, and this will be the complete ionic equation. To do that, we need to know the charge on each of the ions. It's helpful if you've memorized the charges on the periodic table. So we can look here, see calcium, that's in group 2. It'll have a 2 plus charge. Chlorine over here, 1 minus, we'll just write minus. Sodium, 1 plus. And then the carbonate ion, CO3, that's a polyatomic ion. You're not going to find that on the periodic table, but we can look that up on a table of common polyatomic ions. Some teachers want you to memorize this. Others, they'll actually let you use it on the test. So check with your teacher. So we're looking for CO3, which is the carbonate ion, CO3, and it's 2 minus. So I'll put a 2 minus up here. And now I know these as well once I figured these out. So 2 plus, 2 minus, sodium is the plus, and the chlorine's minus. So we have the charges. Now we can split them up in the complete or total ionic equation. So I write Ca, 2 plus, and I'm not going to write aqueous each time. We'll just do that at the end. Plus Cl minus. And remember now we have 2 of these Cl minuses. So when this dissolves or dissociates, we need to put a 2 as our coefficient. Plus the Na plus. And that's the same thing. We have that 2 here. So we need to put a coefficient of 2. Plus we have the CO3, 2 minus. Let's shrink this down a little bit. On the product side, and we need to be careful because we're only splitting the soluble compounds. This is insoluble, so we're not going to split the calcium carbonate apart. We're just going to put CaCO3, and we know that's the solid, right? So we'll just leave that by itself because it's at the bottom of the beaker. And then we have our 2 sodium ions and our 2 chloride ions. Once we've split this up into the ions, except for the things that are insoluble, now we can cross out what are called the spectator ions, and we will have our net ionic equation. So let's cross out the spectator ions. These are ions that appear on both sides. Ca2 plus, I don't have that on both sides. 2Cl minus, I do, right here and right here. I'm going to cross that out. 2Na plus, right there, 2Na plus. CO3 2 minus, we don't have that all by itself here. So those are the spectator ions. We just crossed those out. Now we can write the net ionic equation with what's left. That'll look like this. So this is the net ionic equation for CaCl2 plus Na2CO3. The reason we cross these spectator ions out is we're really interested in what's changed in the reaction. We have Cl minus here. We have it here. It hasn't changed. Same for the Na plus. Have it here and here. It's not changed. So we're not interested in that. What we're interested in is the calcium ion and the carbonate ion. They're now ionically bonded together in this solid at the bottom of the beaker. It's a chemical reaction that has taken place. This is Dr. B with the net ionic equation for calcium chloride plus sodium carbonate. Thanks for watching.